Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I'm joined by one of the most respected voices in world cricket, former Zimbabwean international cricketer and well-known commentator, Pommie Mbangwa. Pommie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good to see you, Ramat.
For me, I don't think I will be wrong if I say that every Afghan cricket fan is your fan as well. And I think it all started with that one line from Kabul to Kandahar, everyone will be celebrating tonight. Did you ever think that those words would become so special to Afghan cricket fans?
Look, I wouldn't imagine it, but I must say that it's a good thing. It is the challenge of all of us as commentators to ensure that when there are special moments for players, for teams, for countries, it all translates and leads from one to the other, that you don't spoil that moment and that you do make it memorable for everybody involved. So to choose the right words is not easy, but because this is the job you do, sometimes you get it right and sometimes you may not get it right. For Afghanistan particularly, who have had a very colorful um, road as far as international cricket is concerned. I think I might say it's a story that everybody kind of buys into and everybody would look at and be excited at being a part of. And so for me, in terms of finding the words, I'd say it took some effort, but it was a pleasure for me, and I'm glad, as you say, that the fans remember this and that they treat it as special and they will treasure it. That means, therefore, that I will as well. And the reason I will is because I have managed to, in essence, do my job, I guess, to make sure that the moment isn't lost, isn't forgotten, and can be held in the memories of many for a long time.
For me, if I had to rank Afghanistan three biggest victories in cricket history, I would probably put the win against Pakistan in ODI World Cup 2023 first, the win against Bangladesh in 2024 T20 World Cup second, and the win against Australia in the same World Cup third. What's interesting is that you were in coma box during the winning moments of the first two historic victories of Afghanistan. Your voice and your words, I think, have become the part of Afghanistan cricket history. And going back to that one famous line from Kabul to Kandahar, everyone will be celebrating tonight. Were those words planned in a way? Were those words already somewhere in your mind, or did they simply come out naturally because of the emotion of that historic moment?
Yeah, the truth is, Ramat, that you have to plan something, um, but in your planning, so you imagine it like this. It's like trying to prepare yourself for an examination, right? When you prepare yourself for an examination, you know what the definitions of certain things are, you know what the formulas are in order to work out certain problems. And then when you get into the exam, you have to recall those and you then have to work out what's going on and arrive at whatever the desired answer or outcome is to prove whatever you're proving or solve whatever you're solving. So, in leading up to the game, I first had to have in my head that there was the possibility that Afghanistan would win the game. In one, just to win the game, but in another, just to actually qualify and create history. So I have to know all those things in my head. I have to make sure that I have some sort of clue on where I might go if they do and where I might go if they don't. And so had that in mind, but not as a sentence. The sentence then comes out on its own because of excitement, because of what might be in my head in a way to try and express the joy, to express the kind of the size, how big the moment is. So all of that just comes to mind at the time, but because of hours and hours of preparation.
Pomi, did you ever think about traveling to Afghanistan? I mean, if you receive an invitation from Afghanistan Cricket Board, and I'm sure that invitation will come sooner or later, to be part of Shpagiza Cricket League and commentate in Afghanistan biggest T20 tournament in Kabul, would you accept that? And if you do come to Afghanistan, would you like to visit the cities like Kabul, Kandahar, Jalalabad, Khost, and meet those fans who admire you so much?
It would be nice. It's nice to be wanted. It's nice to be invited. That said, it all depends on schedules, as you know. I know that right now, as we speak, India and Afghanistan are supposed to be playing, but it's raining where they are up in Himachal Pradesh in India. So,
Mm.
yeah, if the schedule allows, I have absolutely no problem with saying yes and turning up and meeting the fans. The fans are the lifeblood of the game. So, yeah, no doubt would be happy with saying hello to everybody and spending some time.
Hope to see you soon in Kabul as well. Moving forward, a lot of Afghan cricket fans know Pomi Mbangwa, the commentator. But tell us a little bit about the Pomi Mbangwa, the cricketer. Your international playing career wasn't very long, so how did your journey from being a Zimbabwe international player to becoming one of the most respected cricket wise in the world begin?
Yeah, my journey is, I suppose, the same as many. Through school and then just an interest in the game and doing decently as a youngster and then having a desire within my heart to play the game professionally and to play for Zimbabwe because I'd seen it was possible, and that was from watching many hours of videotapes and so forth, and just enjoying the game from a very young age. So my career itself was fleeting. It wasn't a long career, and being being in the Zimbabwe side, playing with players such as the late Heath Streak and Andy and Grant Flower and Alistair Campbell and Henry Alonga, the Strangs, the Whittles, yeah, Gavin Rennie, Everton Matamba Nadzo, and we started all together. It was playing with mates, and it was kind of just the next step from playing representative at whether it's under 15, 17, 19 level and just moving along. And then the toughness of international cricket, playing one days and test matches and finding out how hard it was. And then also the reality or how surreal it was to be on the field with players who you'd kind of seen from a distance. All happened really quickly for me, and though my career was short, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every second of it, and it gave me what was a taste of international cricket, of wonderful competition, and the thing I think that certainly I miss about international cricket is the electricity in competition, the pressure that exists because of your own desire to do really well when you're out on the field. So yeah, that was fantastic. Went to the '99 World Cup and we did decently over there. When I recall times that were good, we went to Pakistan and won a test match in Peshawar, played in that, and that was good. Um, and won that series because in the second test match, it fogged out. I think after day two, we couldn't play. And then the third test match, which was the last test match in Faisalabad, that didn't even happen. The ball wasn't bowled. So we ended up winning 1-0. So those are all really good memories. And then I can name all the great players of our game who I shared a field with and managed to play against. And these are stories I kind of have to tell my kids, and these are things and achievements that many people would only dream of, right? And so for me as a young fella at the time to have my dream come true to represent Zimbabwe, to play at the highest stage, to play at the biggest stage. It's absolutely fantastic. But as I say, fleeting and then on to the next thing. And also to end up as a commentator, it wasn't a direction that I decided I was going to take. It just kind of happened. I sort of ended up in a commentary box through injury. The first time was because of injury, being in a squad and then being asked questions or being interviewed and then interviewing decently, I guess, and then a suggestion to just sit alongside and explain X and explain Y. Who's this guy? Who's that guy? Spotting guys on the field, that sort of thing. And then what I got fascinated with actually was walking into one of the broadcast trucks at the time. These days we have big broadcast rooms, but walking into a broadcast truck and seeing all the various monitors and how it actually worked behind the scenes then piqued my interest. And from there, I sort of always had oh, I wonder how that works, and I wonder how that works, and took an interest, and then post playing went into the commentary box, and I've had the absolute privilege as well of sitting next to absolute greats of the game and working alongside them. So yeah, been a fantastic time, and I don't take it lightly. And my job now, along with actually calling the game correctly, and just because I love the game, making sure that I pass that on to whoever is watching and cannot be there, to try and make them feel like they're as close to the action as possible. But also to make sure that those who don't necessarily know or love the game as yet can come to the game because of how we talk about it and how we call it when we do call it. So I see it as a big responsibility, not just for those fans as well, but also for aspiring people who might be young at this time, who might be cricketers at this time, not cricketers necessarily at the highest level, who might want to turn up and be in the commentary box one day, just so that they can see and know that it is possible, you know?
For me, in Afghanistan, there are many young cricket fans who dream of becoming commentators one day. What advice would you like to give them, and what qualities or skill do they need if they want to build a successful career behind the microphone?
Yeah, it's obviously a very difficult place to break into, an international cricket commentary box, right? Because the prerequisite, it seems these days, is that one would have to have played international cricket, and that gives them a big boost, right? Because you've played and you've been there, you know what it's like over there, and therefore you have an association with regard to what each of those players out there are actually trying to do and what they might feel and go through. That experience, um, certainly takes you a long way. So, for those who might not play international cricket, what I would suggest actually is to play the game at whatever level. I think that's the first thing. You've got to play the game at some level, so that you're not just you're not just saying what you see without any sort of context. You've got to have context, you've got to have yourself grounded in the game before you can start making assumptive opinions, because then you can stray, right? You can go in any direction you want, and to you, it might be justified. But from a reality perspective, from those who are on the field and who have been on the field, it might be a stretch. So you want to have that experience of playing, of going through the tough times, of going through the good times, of sharing dressing rooms, of teammates, of umpires and wrong decisions, correct decisions, winning, losing. All of that is something that is necessary just so that it builds a base for some sort of experience and knowledge. And then, as far as advice is concerned, know your subject. That's uh, that's as much advice as I can give. I think watch cricket, listen to cricket, read about cricket, write about cricket, talk about cricket. Um, if if you do that, then you give yourself the best chance. And then in terms of breaking through and actually trying to get a career, these days, I suppose you have podcasts and shows that are made and are put on social media and on various platforms. And perhaps that's a way to go as an attempt to get noticed and to get seen and to get heard. And if you can, you then can progress from that to rather than your own show to a show that is probably more renowned, and you climb that ladder in that way, dependent on how well you do whatever it is you do. And like anything, you need practice, you need the know-how, the rules of the do's and the don'ts when it comes to interviewing, when it comes to presenting, when it comes to commentary, whether you're kind of calling commentator as in a lead or you're an expert or an analyst. All of those things are not, they're not necessarily natural things. They're things that over time you learn. And as a final word of advice, I'd say it takes time. And like many things, it's kind of last man standing. Can you persevere? Can you keep going? And can you be the last one standing at the end of it all?
Pomi, let's do a fun one. If I give you only two choices and you had to pick one, would you rather ball to Rahmanullah Gurbaz or face Rashid Khan with the bat?
Because I couldn't bat for nothing, I would
Yeah,
rather bowl at Gurbaz. I'd give myself a better chance there. Both wonderful players. Had many wonderful players from Afghanistan. I mean, Rashid Khan has been so good for Afghanistan, whether it's as captain or just as a wonderful leg spin bowler who's done so well over the years. And I don't know if you know this, you'd have heard it
yeah,
because you've watched, but we we just kind of call him the MVP because he's been so good.
yeah,
And to carry the hopes of a team on your shoulders is not easy. He does it with such aplomb. He's cool, calm guy, and that's fantastic to see. I love the aggression of Rahmanullah Gurbaz. I love how he plays the game. I like that he's got so much talent and he is not afraid to go at things. And that's probably a trait that you could put on Afghanistan as a team, that they're unafraid, that they show courage in the way they go about things. Um, but those guys are very much the new guys, aren't they? Because you have to go back, and you've got to remember guys like Zadran,
yeah,
Stanigza. You got to remember all of those guys back then when stuff was really really tough, who managed to continue to come through to kind of keep Afghanistan afloat and get Afghanistan noticed, and then it's the likes of Ramat Shah, Nabi, who was there probably right at the beginning,
yeah,
um, and and um, and Rashid and Gurbaz, and yeah, even more now as we go along, Mujib. We can go to Azmatullah Omarzai. I mean, to be the best in the world as an
yeah,
Afghanistan player, that's just brilliant. Yeah, Gazanfa now turns up. He's also making his way quite nicely. It's good to see, and
yeah,
and these are the guys who are raising it to the next level, right? Where before it was about being noticed and turning up and just being a part of the world game. Now, they're not just a part of the world game. When you speak about who's top eight, people don't hesitate to say Afghanistan is one of those.
yeah.
So, and I know it's in T20s predominantly, but also in one days, and perhaps in a time to come, there'll be improvement with the longer version of the game. And I understand the difficulty of that with finance, with everything that comes with Afghanistan cricket, but hopefully in a time to come.
Finally, Pomi, thousands of Afghan cricket fans will be watching this interview from Afghanistan and from around the world. What message would you like to give to the people of Afghanistan, to the Afghan cricket fans who have shown you so much love and respect over the years?
Um, love and peace. That's that's the sum total of my message, I suppose. And if that can be achieved through cricket, then even better. Let's all keep supporting this wonderful game we love. Keep watching the game, the wonderful game we love, and keep playing and spreading the game to everywhere and to absolutely everyone. Love and peace.
Thank you so much for your time, Pomi. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and hopefully, we will see you soon in Afghanistan as well.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you,
Rahman.
and
Been a
all the
pleasure.
very best.